No, you don't need the.
I'm doing this my way. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of items. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of items.
What's up, everybody? It's Pikel with League of Items, and I know it's been a little while since I made a video, probably a couple days. I've been quite busy. I played Yale Golf Course over the weekend. Super cool to finally play that course. I was in Connecticut for my cousin's graduation party and figured it was the best time to do it before that. They're doing a gigantic renovation in a year or two. So I'm happy I did it. But with that being said, you know, it's time to talk about League of Legends again. The seasons are winding down. I'm going to start putting together some other videos soon with different content ideas. So if you have any questions that you want me to answer in upcoming videos, please let me know in the comment section below. Like if there's a certain team you want me to look at or give an opinion on, feel free to leave a comment. I just want to write down this one idea I have. Team. All right. But before we get started talking League of Legends, we should talk about our new partner, Underdog Fantasy. So Underdog, as you know, has the over-unders for League of Legends, but the better part, well, maybe I shouldn't say better part, the thing that they became known for initially, and I'll show this on the screen, is best ball. So the best contests, in my opinion, that Underdog does are these best ball Mania contests. They're big, gigantic prize pools, $10 million in prizes. First place is $2 million. Second place, $1 million. Obviously, you're not likely to win one of these. It's about halfway filled right now. Some people will be doing the 150 max entries at $25. I'll let you do the math. The rake is 11.3%, which isn't horrible, but it's not great either. There are better rakes out there for some of their other contests, but it's a fun format. So what you do is you have to draft a team in a snake draft, and you have to qualify for the first 14 weeks. If you win your league, you get, well, I think it's if you win or come in second. But basically, you have to make it through the first round, which is the first 14 weeks of the season. Then it moves on after that. The best team from each group gets put into the next group and the next group and the next group. So week 17 is when the finals are, which is when most fantasy football ends because people don't want players in week 18 when they're not necessarily playing the starters and things like that. The best thing about best ball is that you draft a team and then you don't have to look at it for the rest of the year until playoffs are coming around and you see who you want to root for in order to make some money in the later stages of the competition. It's a really fun format, so if you're looking to do some best ball for the NFL season, make sure you check out Underdog using promo code Pikel. You can also use the link in the description below. The link wasn't there previously. It is there now. I'm like 99% sure. So make sure you check that out if you want to support the channel. It's probably the best way to support the channel right now. But let's talk about tomorrow's games. So we have 4 matches tomorrow, 4 pretty good matchups. So first up, we have EDG against Anyone's Legend, Flandre against ZDZ, Junjia against Xiaohao, Scout against Forge, Viper and Mako against Betty and Chow Chow. So this is one of the more easy to predict matchups of the day. I think that EDG is a much better team than Anyone's Legend, but Anyone's Legend are in the playoff picture. They do have a lot to play for, so we're going to get the best version of them. The other thing is that we're going to get the bloodiest version of them. So if you want to play EDG tomorrow, I think it is a good spot because Anyone's Legend will be pressing and forcing the issue, and even if they have a huge deficit, they will continue to fight these objectives because that's the only way they're going to win this game. The seeding is very important, and I'm sure that they want to pick up as many wins as possible and prove themselves against a team like EDG. That would be a huge confidence boost going into playoffs. The money line is minus 400 for EDG. That seems a little much for me. I know that it's best of 3, but still, plus 285. I don't know if I can really get there for Anyone's Legend, but plus 1.5 maps. I think Anyone's Legend is good enough to take a game off of EDG. I think that I think it's possible for Anyone's Legend to take a game off of them, and probably better than the number that's being offered. So I would consider playing that. If I was playing DraftKings with EDG, one of the big question marks is in the jungle, Junjia and Jai Jai. They've kind of been going back and forth and splitting time. If you play an EDG stack as your primary stack, you may actually want to avoid the jungle spot. It's just more risk involved. If you pick the right one, then the ownership will be depressed. So it might be a good way to be different if you want to play the same lineup, one with one jungler, one with the other. One of those may be super under-owned, and you could get lucky with that. Just theoretically. Let's say EDG loses game 1, Junjia gets subbed out for Jai Jai, they win game 2, they win game 3. Maybe Jai Jai scores good enough to win a contest or something like that. Unlikely, like I said, but it's worth considering at the very least. Personally, I will not be playing the jungle spot from EDG in like a qualifier. I'm playing in another qualifier. I have 2 seats. I'd like to get more. We'll see what happens. Let's look at underdog. So underdog, we have EDG against anyone's legend. Junjia, I think that you could feel okay taking the under in this because it's a possibility that he gets taken out in game 1 or game 2. That's probably partially why this number is what it is. And he is capable of hitting the over in one game, but we're not worried about that as much. Flandre, 6.5 kills. I think that we could probably avoid playing that altogether. I would lean the under for this as well. And then we have Xiaohao. So Xiaohao is the starting jungler for anyone's legend. 4.5 kills. If you think that they can get a win, I think that the over is the better play. So again, I know I say that a decent amount, but you really have to have those kinds of... you really have to make those types of decisions on your own. Like I could tell you, okay, anyone's legend will win game 1 or game 2, but it's still up to you to throw that into your ticket essentially. So we have Scout +4 versus Viper. There are a handful of AD carries who have been having huge kill scores recently. Viper, Ruler, Gala is always good for a large kill score in one game, so that is kind of freaky. I just feel like 4 is too much. I'd probably lean Scout. They do play around Viper. I wouldn't be shocked if Viper covers this number, but 4 just seems to be too much in my opinion. I would check that one out. Betty and Chow Chow, I feel like that's not going to be a super volatile matchup, so maybe it's a good spot for Scout to have additional value against anyone's legend. Then we have ZDZ against Betty, so ZDZ +1.5. I think that Betty is probably the smarter side here. If you did... This one's kind of... I almost want to play this one. If you think that EDG sweeps anyone's legend, I think that you could play ZDZ. So that's what I'd be looking out for. Let's go to the second game in China. We have Invictus Gaming against OMG, and this is a great matchup. The LPL are kind of touting this as like the next generation matchup, which I think is kind of accurate. Zika and Shun are a good combo. Shanji and Aki are an okay combo. Creme is a very good player. Abel's had a good season. OMG has had a better season than Invictus Gaming overall. OMG is still competing for playoffs. Invictus Gaming is very bloody, so I think this is a great spot for OMG. I'll be playing OMG tomorrow on DraftKings. That's probably my favorite spot on the board tomorrow because I think it'll be a little bit under-owned relative to the possibility of it being the highest number of kills for a winning team. It's more likely that that goes to 3 games. I don't think that's an issue with these two teams because the loss for OMG should still be bloody. So if I was looking at OMG, Abel and Cream are the same price. Abel has more fantasy points per game. Shanji also has more fantasy points per game than Cream. I would still consider taking a flyer on Cream as my captain because he has that level of upside. And Invictus is a good team to play against. So I think that depending on who you want to stack from your secondary stack, I could see getting a mid laner in there. If you're doing Cream with Scout, not the best spot in the world, but it's still okay. Cream plus Chovy could be good. Cream plus Faker, probably not going to be high owned and not very popular. but we'll talk about those matchups later on. So personally, I think I will end up playing OMG with EDG. And then I'd probably try to sneak in one of the LCK teams to be different, but that's what I'm leaning towards right now. In the rivals on Underdog, we have Shun at +1 against An. I think that's the correct side. I would want Shun over An. And then Aki and Shanji. I would take Shanji, even though it's 3 kills. I think that, 3 kills is a lot. I changed my mind. I want Shun. I want Aki +3. That's rough. It's just going to be such a super volatile matchup because both teams have high opinions of their top laners. I think that Creme is better than Mole, but stylistically they're very different. I think Mole is more likely to play for the side lanes than Creme is. So that would mean Creme probably is going to be taking away more kills than Mole would be, which is part of the reason why I like Shun. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. In this kind of matchup specifically, the rivals spots are not going to be as good as the over-under spots, in my opinion. And the reason is because I think that we could look at this as an over just for everybody. So Mole over under 5, I could see that for sure. Games 1 and 2, if it goes 1-1 in the first 2 games, I would expect that to hit. 7.5, that's a little scary. Not gonna lie. So if we did this, it'd be 19 kills. So 19 divided by 19 times 2.5 would be 38. 38 plus 8.5, so 46.5. All right, that seems high. You can't really play Abel and Cold and Creme together, so you'd have to pick one. If I was just picking one, I'd probably want Creme. So I could see both of these overs hitting. I think it's too difficult to play all 3 of them together, though. But again, that's your decision. Then in the LCK, we have Genji against Freda Breon. Genji -3-3-3-3. So they are the most likely team to 2-0 tomorrow. They are the highest price on DraftKings for everything. Which isn't super surprising because that's just generally how they make their prices work out. In this spot, I'll probably sneak in Peanut or Lehens or Genji to be different and just hope that they get to 2-0. If they get the 2-0, then potentially they're the highest scoring player from that slot, but you couldn't use them as a full secondary stack because of the way that the pricing lines up. So you got to watch out for that. If I was playing... It's really tough to play them as your primary stack. Could you play Peanut as your primary stack? Yes. Is it going to be the winning captain often? I don't think so. Especially when Ruler's been going off. You probably want to try to sneak Ruler into your lineup. Let's go to Freda Breon against Genji. 2.5. That sounds like an over to me. And then Ruler and Lehens. 12.5. They've had some huge numbers recently. I'd be more comfortable playing the over for even at 2.5. I think that's really low. With Chovy at 6.5, I think we could definitely get the Chovy 6.5. This one's kind of sketches me out. You really have to pick which one of these you think is more likely. I think the bigger number is supposed to scare you off, and it kind of worked on me, so I will not be doing that. And then we can go to... where is it? Is Genji up here? Maybe Genji is not listed. Morgan against Lava. I'll take the Morgan side +0.5. And then Genji. Doran versus Peanut. Probably take Peanut. That seems like the correct side. 2.5 is so low. Okay, so that takes care of that. Let's go to the last match of the day, T1 against Sandbox. So this is an interesting matchup because Sandbox has had a really good year. They are one of the more surprising teams in the world right now. The fact that they've kind of made this turnaround. Prince seems to be a very good AD carry. Zeus against Dove, you're going to prefer the Zeus side. Owner against Croco, same thing. Faker against Closer. This could be a revenge spot for Closer. Let's see what happened the last time that they played against T1. They lost to 0-2. It was a low kill score game. I hope that Sandbox plays bloody because they really should against T1 at this point. They have nothing to lose, and this will be valuable experience for them if they match up in playoffs. They need to be able to play a slow and measured game, but they also need to try to throw caution to the wind and be very bloody. And then in the bot lane, I mean, I do think that Gumayusi and Keria are better, but Prince has been very good. And if you told me he carried a game or two against T1, I wouldn't be completely shocked. Not that, you know, he's better than T1 by himself, but he has that upside, that playmaking upside. I say Zeus over Owner. I think that's the better side. And then I would think Prince is the better option over Closer. The one interesting thing about this matchup is they could try to put Closer onto hyper carries against Faker, but then they're just asking. They're playing the dangerous game at that point. Over, under. I like the over for Gumayusi and Keria. Again, I think it could just be a very bloody matchup. Faker has not hit the over very often. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess he would have hit 5 though. He went through a dry spell. That's kind of what I'm remembering. 7, 7, 6, 9. I mean, in wins, he should be breaking this number. Oh, that's in 3 games. In 3 games, yeah, it's still very close. So in 2 games, probably not the best. Only 3 kills against them last time. I think the Gumayusi plus Keria is better because Keria is the support that can get you a lot of kills. So I would like that side better. So I would take that out. I'd play that. Zeus over Owner, Gumayusi and Keria over 9 kills, 2.5, Creme 7.5, Mole 5. Those all seem pretty good to me. Dove 3 kills. I'm probably not touching that. And then we go to Rivals. And we have, okay, like I said before, I prefer the Prince side. I prefer the Zeus side. And I would definitely consider playing T1. I know that they didn't have a big score against Sandbox last time, but this is fundamentally different because I think that Sandbox's priorities may have changed. Getting experience in bloody matchups against very good teams is a great thing to do before playoff starts because you don't want to try that out for the first time on stage in a playoff environment. But that's basically it for today. I think that anyone's Legend wins. I think that OMG wins. I think that Genji wins. And I do think that T1 wins. I think that Invictus Gaming and Sandbox do have, you know, outside chances to win their matches. I think that Invictus Gaming is obviously more likely to win than Sandbox. If you told me that, you know, OMG got swept tomorrow, I wouldn't be totally shocked. If you told me that T1 got swept, I'd be very surprised. But that's basically it. So, like I said, if you want to help support the channel, please use promo code PIKEL on underdogfantasy.com. Check out their app. It's actually a very good app for like iPhone, and I'm sure they have it for Android as well. You can use the promo code PIKEL, or you can use the link in the description below. But that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.